This video is going to provide a brief overview of how to read and interpret prerequisites and corequisites attached to a course. We're going to start with a few examples, moving from the simplest to the more complex. And keep in mind, when reading any prerequisite detail, often the bullet level and style can really help understand the rule. Let's start with a pretty simple example of Math 100. Now, on any and every course, prerequisites and potentially corequisites will always be listed on the course itself. In this case, you'll notice the first bullet on the farthest left-hand side indicates to complete one of the following. We then have 3 secondary bullets and 1 tertiary bullet. The 3 options are earn a minimum grade of a C+ in each of the following. In this case, the only option is Math 120. If you're curious about Math 120 as a prerequisite, you can click on the hyperlink and it will take you immediately to the Math 120 course information. The other 2 options are to complete Pre-Calculus 12, Principles of Math 12, with a minimum grade of B or 73%. And the last option is permission of the department. Now, in plain language, this means you must have a C+ grade or better in Math 120, or you must have a B grade or better in high school Pre-Calculus 12 or Principles of Mathematics 12. If you have a course that is similar to one of these, for instance, transfer credit or a non-BC high school grade, contact the Department of Mathematics and Statistics to request specific permission to register in this course. Now let's take a look at a slightly more complex example. We're looking now at Math 311, which is a 300 level math class. Under prerequisites, you'll notice in this case, the text reads, please complete all of the following. Keep in mind, in the first example, the text was to complete one of the following. So our second example refers to completing courses from different groups. We must complete one of Math 110 or Math 211, as well as completing Math 212. Notice the 2 secondary bullets offer you a course selection in the first example and a mandatory course in the second. The next example I'd like to walk you through is for Anthropology 315. Scrolling down to prerequisites, this is an example of completing a mix of courses along with other requirements. The first bullet indicates to complete all of the following. Complete all of Anthropology 240, a declared honors or major in anthropology, and the final bullet is permission of the department. Now, in this case, in plain language, you must have completed Anthropology 240 and be declared in the major or honors programs in anthropology. If you haven't met these requirements, for instance, you're waiting to be declared in the program or are working on completing the course, then you need to contact the Department of Anthropology to request permission to register in this course. If you're ever unsure, always contact the department. Now we're going to move on to another slightly more complex example. This example is taken from the biology department, and this is Biology 365. Now here's a tip for reading these bulleted prerequisites. The first line shows if one or all of the requirements must be completed. In this example, the next bullet level, which is an open circle, shows all the requirements that must be completed. On the first level bullet, please complete all of the following. Next, complete one of the following. For our third level bullets, complete all of Biology 184, 186, complete all of Biology 190B. Next, as a secondary bullet, complete all of Biology 225, as well as a minimum third-year standing. Now let's interpret this in plain language. In this case, you must have completed either both Biology 184 and Biology 186, or Biology 190B. You must have also completed Biology 225 and have at least third-year standing, which means having completed 27 units or more. Now, for more information on year standing, check out Terms Used at UVic. It provides you with a glossary of all the most commonly used terms at the university. And the final example I'd like to draw your attention to refers to the same course, Biology 365. You'll notice this course also has a section labeled Pre or Corequisites. Now, a prerequisite is a course or requirement that must be satisfied before you can take a class at UVic. A corequisite, on the other hand, is a course that must be taken concurrently or at the same time as the course you're intending on taking. In this case, we have an option between a pre or corequisite requirement. In other words, we have completed or concurrently enrolled in one of Biochemistry 299, Biochemistry 300A, or Biochemistry 300B. You can be either currently enrolled in one of these courses or have already completed the course.